So for those of you as birth obsessed as me, this is my full labor story. And I hope it helps you to see God and to see how our bodies were designed for this and how good and beautiful that labor is. So I delivered at 40 plus 1, and I remembered at 40 itself, the day before, I started feeling more like just pinching, cramping kind of things in my just lower abdomen. And I was like, oh, is this it? Maybe, I don't know. And so, because of course, my first, you don't know what you don't know. So I called my friend who just had delivered about a month prior to me, and she's like, maybe, yeah, maybe that. And so I also remembered from all my birth teachings at my birth center, things like that, that if it is labor, just probably go relax, go in the tub, just regain your strength type thing, and especially if it's night. And this was an evening type thing. So I was like, okay. So I went in the tub and all the contractions stopped. And I was like, well, rats. Because I was getting excited at this point. I was like, haha, I get to meet my daughter. And so I remember it all stopped and I was like, oh man. And so I got up and went to bed. And I remember actually waking up in the middle of the night, like walking laps around my house, trying to like restart the contractions. But to no avail. So next morning, wake up, life is normal. Watched a Christmas movie because it was like 'tis the season since it's December 7th. And, just trying to get things going, did some curb walking, things like that. Well, then I went to a friend's house and we had lunch and we're just sitting there chit chatting. And then I start feeling waves. I start feeling contractions, and I'm like, ooh, I can time that, because that was the other thing. Like, everyone's like, well, can you time it? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel pinching. Like, what do I time? Like between the pinches, like what do I time here? I don't know. Whereas in this situation, it was like, oh yes, there is a start and there is a stop. There is a wave to this, and I was like, okay, I see. And so we're just having coffee, we're just having some lunch, and I'm just start, stop, start, stop. And so would never have known that I was in the contractions or having anything, except for the fact if you were watching my hand. We just had a conversation going, because at the birth center they were like, hey, like, do life, just distract yourself until you can't anymore. And so that's what I did. I was just like, okay. Well, then about 3 o'clock, my water broke. And I had the foresight to wear some good old granny panties, like I was good to go on that front. But I still, like, we're talking, I just slide to my knees, just come down on my knees, and I'm just still talking to my friend, and she kind of looks at me funny, but she's like, whatever, and just keeps talking. And I'm like, oh yeah, I think my water broke after, a little bit of a conversation. She's like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I slid off the chair. I didn't want to get your chair wet. She's like, Amber, what? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, like, I'm still good. Like, I don't feel like I'm in crazy pain. So I'm like, I don't know. And so I just called my midwife and just kind of let her know where we were at. And she's like, okay, just keep me in the loop of things. And I was like, absolutely. Called the hubs, because he was been working from home since we didn't know. And he was kind of like, okay. And so we're just off the phone. We keep talking and keep having our socialization type thing. And eventually my husband calls, like, are you coming home? Like, what's going on here? And so I was like, I guess I should probably come home. And so I walk into the front door to the final countdown. The final countdown. Like, he just, yeah. I'm like, he knows how to do it. And so, I just still there. The contractions, there weren't anything crazy at this point. A little bit more. But then at one point I went to the bathroom and there was a little bit more, like, blood, things like that, a little more strong. And so I was like, okay. Called my midwife and she says, okay, maybe time to come in. I'm like, well, I don't know, like, I still am good. I don't feel like I need to go yet. And, but we're living in Houston at the time. And so it's like, okay, with traffic, we should probably go. So got in the car, headed to the birth center, got there about 45 minutes later. And so at this point, it is about 5:45, 6 o'clock. Um, and I like meet her husband out front, which he was also a chiropractor, and so we're just kind of talking shop and just talking. And he was just like, "Wow, like you're in really early labor here, and like nothing going on." And even the same thing, I overheard my midwife kind of be like, "Oh yeah, really early labor here. We have some time." And so I'm feeling contractions, and I'm feeling them, but still just able to work through all of them. And so then she checks. Well, she tries to see about my just checking the waters type thing, and can't really get a good sample. And she's like, okay, well, I could check you, but if I check you and you don't go into labor within 24 hours, you may go septic. And I'm like, never done this before, but like I feel like this is labor. And so the more that she's watching me and we're talking, she's like, okay, yep, I think you're in labor. I think this is happening. And so she checks me and she's like, yep, you're a 4. I think this is happening. I'm like, okay, awesome. Um, and so I get down, and at this point, like the room's actually not ready. She wasn't ready. I don't think so. She runs up. She starts getting some clothes on, or just changed into scrubs. And I start walking over to the room, and right about then, when I got off the table, that's when my water fully broke. Because what she kind of established is that my water tore. And so it was kind of like one of those wine court things, like where if I moved a little bit, there was a little bit more. If I moved a little bit, there's a little bit more. But then eventually kind of stopped. Whereas when I stood up this time, there was on my water. And I was like, okay. Well, that also is when my labor more really kicked into gear. Because after this point, it was like, maybe a little couple things. Okay, I'd breathe through it, but not bad. And so I'm walking to the room, and another contraction hits, and they had big pillars in just kind of the hallway. And so I just leaned against a pillar. That's just where I was like, okay, here we are. And I breathed through my contractions, just and breathed through them, and was putting pressure into the pillar at the time. And I was like, okay, that the contraction ended. I was like, okay, I'm good. And so just kept walking into the room. And so I remember in my little intro, and when we were touring the birth center, she had said, or we watched a birth video, and in the birth video, I saw someone on all 4s laboring like that. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. Why not? And so I got up on the bed, and laboring on all 4s, and I was like, nope, not a thing. And I was like, you know what? Holding up that pillar felt pretty good. I think I'm just going to go in against the wall. And that's what I did for all of labor. I just held up a wall. So that's our running joke, is I hold up walls when I'm in labor. How good am I? The wall would have fallen without me, And so it was utterly insane and beautiful is what happened from there. I just started with kind of a just like noise. Like I just had this for every contraction. And then each of those progressed, different noises, and just as labor progressed. And so when my midwife came in, she was like, oh wow, like you're cooking. Oh, we're cooking. Oh, okay, we're like, it just every time she kept being like, oh man, here we go type thing. Because when labor first started, she messaged all of the helpers like, hey, we have someone in labor, early, like first time mom, we got time type thing. And then just pretty quickly she started messaging people like, okay, sorry, like let's get here now. Because then a little bit she's like, you're cooking pretty good, like let's check you. And I laid on my back, which was the worst contraction. Duly noted, like when people at labor hospitals, like any of you who do natural labor laying on your back, kudos to you, mad props. I was like, no, this contraction on my back, not a thing. I did one on my back, did it, check the box, done. Was back up, but when I was on my back, she was just like, oh, nope, you're 9. You're a 9. So I was like, okay, here we are. So I went from a 4 to a 9 in 45 minutes. And it was crazy. And it was so good. Like, it was funny because my midwife was like, hey, try breathing like this, or try this noise, or try this, or try that. And my husband would like try to like put up some pressure, and I didn't want people to touch me per se. I didn't want anybody to I was just like, nope. My body just did it, and it felt so good and so natural. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to change it, like, because my body's just doing it. Every position, like, and how during my contractions, each contraction I would push into the wall and then match it with a certain sound, whatever my body wanted to do. It was just cool. So cool. My body just did it. And of course, I've never done this before. So like, I'm like still in awe of my body doing it at the same time. Because like my brain was still engaged the whole time. It was this weird oxymoronic, like I was checked out, but I was still aware of what was it was weird. Um, and so, but at this point, like she checked me, I'm a 9, and she's like, okay, let's fill up the tub. And so they filled up the tub, and I get in the tub, and this is one of the first times I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like all the contractions kind of stopped, and it was just like nothing going on. She's like, are you pushing? And I'm like, nope. Should I be? Like I don't know. And then my body did it, and I was like, oh, I'm pushing. Like I'm pushing. And so I just kind of was like pushing with it, and then eventually I was like, hey, like should I be helping? Like I don't know. Like I could push more. Like should I push more? Should I not? Like I don't know, type thing. She's like, nope, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, okay. And so I didn't really push more or help along with it. And then at one point though, because where she's checking on baby, things like that, she just turns and she starts talking to me. She's like, okay, mama, I'm gonna have you push. Just start pushing. Push, 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 and just coach me. Push, push, push. And I'm like, okay. And so I did. And then my daughter was born. So 45 minutes, 4 to 9, pushed for about 20 minutes, and she was there. So labor kicked into gear at 6, and at 7:27, my sweet Adelie was born. And oh man, there's no moment like that, like where you hold your child to your chest afterward, and just that golden hour and that beauty of God's amazing creation, man. But what was also cool, or just how it happened, was that my midwife said that she made a judgment call. And she kind of told me that. I was like, okay, like I'm holding my baby, like I don't care. And she's like, I decided to sacrifice your body for baby. And I'm like, okay, again. She's like, because we started to lose heart tones, and so I was like, yep, we're gonna get baby out now. And so that's why she told me, like, we're just pushing now. And so when she was delivered, and actually I didn't know this until like our 6-week checkup, like because both midwives were there and they're just talking shop about it. Apparently the cord was wrapped around her neck a couple times, which also happened to my husband when he was born. And so that in general was an automatic C-section. So I was humbled by the beautiful opportunity to labor, because I realized I very well could have lost that. And so because I just pushed and pushed, she was there. And it was glorious. And so I'm just so thankful to my midwife, and just for her expertise in knowing what to do and how to handle that situation. And that was the big thing, is I just put my trust in God first and foremost, but in my birth team. I knew that they knew what to do best for me, and if whatever judgment call they made, even if that meant hospital, that in hospital, whatever they determined was best for my body and for my baby is what was important. But then after she was delivered, then the birth center just had the most beautiful experience afterward. We just got time to spend with our new daughter. You know, they checked on me, checked up her, things like that, and we made birth meals there. And so I had them like force feeding me, because like I couldn't care less about food at this point. I'm like, I just care about my baby. Like I don't even care. And he's like, no, eat, because he's like, I know you care about her. I care about her too, but I care about you. Like, and so then afterward, they filled the tub again. They put some herbs in the bath, and they just left. And it was just Nate, my husband, and I, and our daughter. And it was just the most beautiful thing. I will treasure those memories forever. And I'm also thankful that at the birth center, they had a photographer that just did a little bit. Because I remember initially, I'm like, there will be no photographer at my birth. Like, no. Only person there would be the midwife and my husband. Like, done. I'm not a zoo. I'm not going to be, it's not going to be pretty. Like, no one's going to want to be there. Like, no, absolutely not. But then towards the end, it's like, you know what? If someone's there, like, sure, we'll snap some photos. Like, why not? If I don't want them, I'll throw them away. But man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we got, I so wish we had more than what we did for Adelie. But just those moments, that rawness, that seeing that beauty of labor was incredible. In experience, it was incredible. And so we had a couple pictures afterward, but then she left and it was just us. And that's what labor is. Labor is beautiful, or it can be beautiful. I know a lot of people don't have that same story, and And I'm sorry, especially if that's the story you want to have. But I'm not going to take away from that hurt or that hardship, nor can I. But I do want to encourage you that there is beautiful labors. It is possible. They're hard, but with God, anything is possible. And God made our bodies to do this. So labor can be a beautiful, beautiful thing.